Ethan whispered something his mother will never forget. "I don't want to be dead." His voice came from the floor of a dark room where sunlight had not entered for years. Lena dropped to her knees, shaking him, forcing a smile she didn't feel. "You're okay, you're just tired. Roll over, Ethan, come on, move." The house responded before her son could. Not with words, but with silence so heavy it felt alive. That was the moment Lena understood something terrifying. This house wasn't broken. It was watching. This is not a ghost story told around a fire. It's a fictionalized account inspired by real reports that were never fully explained. A single mother, one child, a quiet rental house in a forgotten town, and 7 years they could not escape. Not because the doors were locked, but because the house would not let them leave. Lena Carter moved to the town of Ridgewood Plains after a difficult divorce. It wasn't a place people stayed long, just passing through. The house was cheap. Too cheap. But it had walls, heat, and privacy. Her son Ethan was 7. Quiet, observant. The kind of child who noticed things adults ignored. When they stepped inside, Ethan stopped. "Mom, it smells like old rain." Lena laughed nervously. Old houses always smell strange. The first nights were uncomfortable, not terrifying. Creaking sounds, cold spots, lights flickering. Then Ethan started waking up at the same time every night. 3:12 a.m. "Always. I hear footsteps," he said once. Lena blamed stress. She didn't know yet that stress doesn't scratch walls from the inside. Days began to blur. Lena noticed food spoiled faster than normal. Her phone battery drained instantly inside the house. Clocks stopped, then restarted by themselves. Ethan stopped asking to go outside. When she asked why, he said, "It gets angry when we talk about leaving." Lena smiled, but fear settled deep in her chest. One afternoon, Lena packed bags. She opened the door. And then nothing. She woke up on the couch. Same clothes. Same bags unpacked. Same time. 3:12 a.m. She told herself she fainted. But fainting doesn't reset reality. Months passed. Then years. Lena tried to track time, but calendars vanished. Notes disappeared. Ethan grew, but slower than he should. Doctors later would call it developmental delay. Lena would call it something else. The house was stretching time. One night Ethan cried quietly. "I don't want to disappear," he said. Lena held him. "You're here, I'm here." Ethan shook his head. "They don't want us gone, they want us quiet." Every attempt to leave ended the same way. Confusion. Exhaustion. Waking up back inside. No pain. No monsters. Just control. That was the worst part. The door opened. Not all the way. Just enough for cold night air to rush inside. Lena froze. For 7 years, that door had never moved without resistance. Never unlocked. Never welcomed. Now it stood slightly open, as if the house itself had made a decision. Ethan's weight felt lighter in her arms than it should have. Too light. "I'm here," she whispered. "You're here, we're leaving." Behind her, the walls creaked, not like old wood, but like something stretching after a long sleep. The rain hit her skin like needles. Lena hadn't felt rain properly in years. The sensation almost made her collapse. The ground felt unstable, as if it didn't recognize her. Every step away from the house felt wrong, like breaking an invisible rule. She didn't look back. She already knew what she'd see. The house always looked the same from the outside. Ordinary, silent, patient. Headlights cut through the rain. A delivery truck slowed, then stopped completely. The driver leaned out, confused. "Ma'am, are you hurt?" Lena tried to answer. Her throat wouldn't cooperate. She stumbled forward, almost falling. The driver rushed out when he saw Ethan. Hey, buddy," he said gently. "What happened to him?" Ethan's eyes opened slightly. "They didn't let us go," he whispered. "Not until now." The driver felt a chill that had nothing to do with rain. Emergency services were called. While waiting, Lena sat on the edge of the truck step, holding Ethan tightly. She kept expecting the house to react. A noise, a sound, anything. But it didn't. That scared her more than anything else. 2 patrol cars arrived first. Officers approached carefully, rain dripping from their hats. "Can you tell us what happened?" one asked. Lena shook her head slowly. "I don't know how," she said. "I don't know where to start." The officers exchanged a glance. They had heard strange stories before. This felt different. An officer approached the house. He paused at the door. Later, he would say this moment bothered him more than anything else. The door was unlocked. No forced entry. No damage. Inside, the air felt heavy. Thick, as if sound didn't travel correctly. Another officer reported feeling dizzy. They decided not to stay long. The report would later state, property in severe disrepair. Signs of long-term habitation. Unusual temperature fluctuations. Nothing supernatural. Nothing illegal. But also nothing normal. One officer requested reassignment the next day. Ethan's pulse was weak but steady. He clutched Lena's hand. "Don't let them find us," he whispered. "Who?" she asked. He didn't answer. The paramedic noted his weight. Too low for his age. But no visible injuries. Doctors ran tests. Blood work. Scans. Psychological assessments. Everything came back unclear. Ethan's body showed signs of prolonged stress and isolation. But no disease. No malnutrition severe enough to explain his condition. One doctor quietly said, "It's like he lived somewhere that didn't follow normal time." No one challenged him. They just didn't write it down. Social workers spoke to Lena. Psychologists listened. They asked about abuse, neglect, trauma. Lena answered honestly. But there were gaps. Years that didn't make sense. Timelines that wouldn't align. They couldn't accuse her. They couldn't explain her either. The house was condemned within weeks. Not because of danger. Because no one wanted responsibility for it. Workers complained of headaches. Equipment malfunctioned. Eventually, demolition was approved. Neighbors watched from a distance. When the structure collapsed, some swore they heard a sound like air rushing out of a lung. Afterward, the land felt empty. Too empty. Lena and Ethan were relocated. New town. New last name. A quiet apartment near a school. Ethan returned to classes slowly. He struggled with noise. With closed doors. With silence. Ethan slept with a lamp on. Every night. Lena did too. At first, she thought it was habit. Then she noticed the time. 3:12 a.m. Every night. She would wake up, heart racing, expecting to hear something. But nothing came. Years passed. Ethan grew stronger, taller, but he never forgot. When asked about the house, he said, "It wasn't angry." That worried Lena. "What do you mean?" "It was just hungry." One afternoon, Ethan's teacher called Lena. "He drew something unusual," she said. It was a house, surrounded by empty space. No sky, no ground, just walls. "What is it?" the teacher asked Ethan. He replied calmly, "Where time stays still." No follow-up investigation was done. No documentary. No public record. Just sealed reports and quiet relocations. Some stories don't end. They fade. Lena understood something years later. The house never chased them, never attacked, never forced them. It waited, and when it was done, it let them go. Some places don't trap people with locks. They trap them with time. And sometimes surviving isn't escaping. It's being released. Inspired by unexplained reports. This story has been fictionalized for narration purposes.